This is the opening of Norton Conservation Commission. It is Monday, March 13th. Yes, I have to always check on that. It is now 6:30, and as is required, we need to read the preamble into the record concerning that this is a remote meeting. So, Dan, are you able to do that?
Oh, for heaven's sakes. Apparently not, Julian. I'm sorry.
All right, well, I can do that. So we will begin with pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Paragraph 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Norton Conservation Commission will be conducted by a remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right to and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found at the end of the agenda. Members of the
Julian,
public,
I can take over if you want. It's up to you.
all right, we can make it a multimedia event, but let me just finish this paragraph. The public and or parties with a right to and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found. Oh, I did that. All right, so start with members.
Okay, sorry, Julian.
No.
Members of the public attending this public hearing / meeting virtually will be allowed to make comments if they wish to do so during the portion of the hearing designated for public comment by raising their hand virtually or pressing *9 if participating by phone. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the Norton Cable website, www.nortonmediacenter.org, an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting.
So participating tonight, we have our director, John Thomas, and our assistant, Megan Harrop. We have a full board, although there is one vacancy, and that includes myself, Julian Kadish, Chair, Lisa Carosa, Vice Chair, Tom Avest, Dan Pearson, Mark Fernandez, and Ron O'Reilly. We have, as our first item on the agenda, a new public hearing, file number 250-1123, notice of intent for 13 Dean Street concerning a septic system repair, but there were certain items that needed additional work, and because of that, rather than open now, they requested a continuance until March 27th. So do we have
So moved.
Excuse me, Julian, we have to open it first before we can continue it, right?
I guess we do.
Yeah.
So maybe we can get a brief statement. It concerns map 31, lot 22. Do we have a plan that we can throw up on the screen just to briefly describe what's going on, and then we can continue? I'm assuming there's not a representative of the applicant in the meeting.
There's not. I can get a plan. Just give me 1 second.
Okay.
All right. I'm just gonna share my screen here. Just let it load up. All right. Can everyone see this plan here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So the concerns that I had, I went out to the site and the applicant needs to map the wetlands going from wetland flag 10 and going closer to the adjacent property because they actually come closer to the house. So I asked him to meet me out there tomorrow so we can take a look at it and we can make a determination on to where the wetland boundary is supposed to be, along with checking in on the status of the nearby stream, which is off the map to the left-hand side of the map. It was flowing. I don't know if it's perennial at this time, so they'd have to make an assessment on that. So there's a couple unanswered questions that they need to address for this application to be complete.
So, there's that box in the back with the dotted line around it. And it says, I guess it's to receive, dewatering water, from the front. Is that?
You're talking about the D-box for the SAS system?
No, in the back, so you have the house in purple and then you have another box in purple behind it, and adjacent that box is a rectangle with the dotted line around it, and that's to receive dewatering water. Is that right?
For the septic system? I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about for the box.
Well, you see on the plan,
Yeah,
the house is in purple,
yeah.
and then
And there's an
I
existing
think-
garage in purple.
Yeah, and
too.
right next to that garage is an illustration.
Oh, the dewatering basin. See detail. Yeah.
All right, so that gets pumped around from the excavation in the front. Is that the idea?
So my understanding from this whole entire plan, and the applicant can definitely present the findings, is that the septic system is going to go on the front of the house. They're going to abandon the existing septic system, which is currently in the back of the house. I don't know what the dewatering basin is for, because they shouldn't be doing any work over there. I don't know what the status of that is either. What I do know, and my concerns are, is that there's a wetland that it loops around and horseshoes up closer to this house on the right-hand side. And they need to make sure that they meet the Board of Health setbacks from the wetlands. It's 50 feet. So they have to meet that at all times. And there's no exception for any waivers. So their design may change based on that setback. And that was the concern I had for them, was they need to address the wetland delineation. So that's why I'm going out on Wednesday to confirm the wetland delineation and also continue and finish the delineation itself with the applicant.
All right, so we opened, we raised some questions. So I think we detailed the additional information that we're going to need, and we can now consider a motion for a continuation of this hearing until March 27th.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion made by Dan and seconded by Lisa. Roll call vote, starting with Dan and Tama.
Aye.
Aye.
And Mark and Ron.
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye. And Lisa, how do you vote?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. This hearing is continued until March 27th. Next hearing is a continued public hearing, notice of intent, file number 250-1113 for 0 East Hodges Street. They also request a continuation until March 27th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Dan, seconded by Lisa. Roll call vote, starting with Dan and Tama.
Aye.
Aye.
And Mark and Ron.
Aye.
Aye.
And Lisa.
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye. So that motion carries. Our next public hearing is file number 250-1119, 0 South Washington Street. And that has to do with proposed work for tree clearing, grading, and I believe installation of a parking area. And do we have a representative of the applicant for that project?
Yes, hi, my name is Nicole Hayes with Goddard Consulting.
All right.
So the DEP number is 250-119. After meeting with Amazon requested that the parking spaces be increased from 9 by 20 to 11 by 24, and also the aisle sizes from 22 to 32 feet. This increase in parking sizes and aisle sizes has pushed some of the work into the outer riverfront area. We proposed 1,310 square feet of impact of outer riverfront area.
One second. Is it possible that you have a
plan?
a plan that you
Yep.
can share with us?
Yep.
And now it looks like it's, okay, we got it.
All right. So this was the existing line here. We did an ANRAD to solidify the wetland resources. We have an isolated wetland here. This was joined into bordering vegetated wetland during the ANRAD process. The river bank is down here. This is the 100-foot riverfront area and the 200-foot riverfront area. So here's the proposed conditions. It's a Amazon parking lot. This little section right here is the proposed work within the outer riverfront area. Again, this is the 100-foot riverfront line, and this is the 200-foot riverfront line. So we're proposing 1,310 square feet of alteration, which is far below the 5,000 allowed, or 10%. We have done an alternatives analysis, and we also did a performance standards analysis that was given to the commission last week. I can go over that with you if you would like me to go over that.
I think if John, you think that would be helpful, you reviewed that? Is that correct?
I can let everybody know that the stormwater peer review consultant has reviewed the redesign, and he gave us a response, and he felt comfortable with the design as it's proposed, that it meets the stormwater standards. I guess the question is for this one, Nicole, is do you have a grading plan for this?
Let me see.
Like what the grades are going to be for?
Well, you've got grades there.
Right. I'm just thinking, like, for instance, I mean, we got a parking lot, the edge of the parking lot in the riverfront area. My question is it going to be a raised parking lot, or is it just going to be on grade? Typically those are built up significantly. So you got 89.7, 89.7. What's the existing grade there? 82.
82.
So where's the slope? Where's the off slope for that parking lot? I guess that's my question.
So that implies that there's a wall. It implies that you have 7 feet of fill.
So that's my question for this
So you
whole
want-
entire.
So you want to see the grading outside this area.
I want to see the grading from what the design's going to look like. I mean, I need to see that to understand, how much sheet flow and potential that's going to have, and whether, I know that the peer review consultant has already said that this is sufficient, but for me, I would like to see what the grades are going to be along the edge of the parking lot to give me a sense as kind of how much slope. Are we going to put riprap down for stabilization? Is it going to be grass? Is it going to be, what's the stabilization going to be?
Okay.
Well, I think the bigger question is how you transition from 7 feet of fill. You'd have to have a wall. Okay, so is that a wall that I'm seeing around there? On the southern end of the parking lot makes no sense, because you're going from, if that's 89, is that 89 proposed?
Yeah, 89
There's
is
only
the
one
proposed.
proposed contours, the rest are all spot grades. So it's 89, and you have an 82 and a half, so you get almost 8 feet of fill.
Okay.
So it's screaming for, you need a wall, you need something.
Yeah.
Grading would be extending way out to get back into grade. You'd have a ton of grading back there.
And that's what I'm getting at is,
Right.
I see that you guys have maxed out the design for the parking lot to get your need for the spots, but what's gonna be the slope stabilization for that? Is it going to be a wall? Is it going to
It is a wall. It is a TOW, copper wall on the right-hand side.
Oh, I see.
9.5.
Okay, I see it there.
All right, so is there a wall detail? And my next question is going to be, you're going to have to establish a limit of work. So how much area behind the wall do you need to disturb? Do you need to cut any trees down to get in there to build that wall? So you're going to have to ask somebody or talk to somebody about how the wall is going to be constructed.
Mm-hmm. All right, I can definitely get you all that information. The engineer he's actually away on vacation right now, or he would normally be on, the Zoom call along with me. But I'm writing down all these notes, and I will ask him to, reply to that, and, with a grading plan, and, about stabilization and the retaining wall and limit of work, so we can get that information to you.
So
Right, you'll need a
suggestion.
detail on that wall as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Detail on the wall.
Suggestion is to give yourself at least, 15 feet off that 25-foot buffer to be able to construct that wall.
It's going to be tight. So that's is that the top of the wall? Because now you're in the 25-foot buffer on the west side. So that's not the true representation of what the area of disturbance is. So you might have to pull it back.
Okay,
Now you're in the 25.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, you're going to want to have a buffer strip along between the 25 and also the wall to be able to construct this thing, but also to maintain it in case there needs to be repairs.
Mhm.
That's one of the main things that I wanted to touch upon. And I understand the intent here, but realistically and logistically, I don't know if this could work.
All right, well, I will definitely relay that to the engineers, and we will get you that information.
So could you also, I know you went over the riverfront impact numbers, and I'd really like to see those on the plan so that we,
Okay,
that would be great. And then in terms of the alternative, the first alternative is to avoid. So what measures did you take to avoid riverfront altogether?
well, we had previously had a plan that didn't have any work within the riverfront area.
Right.
But the parking spots and the aisles weren't large enough for Amazon. So we needed to increase that. And that's when the work got pushed out into the riverfront area.
So
Hello? I'm sorry, can you guys hear me?
yeah, we're
Yes.
in the discussion.
I'm sorry to interrupt. This is Dave Patuk. I'm the owner of the project, and my audio was broken, and I just got it fixed. But when Nicole's done speaking, I can answer the previous questions
Yep,
about the
go ahead.
wall. I'm sorry?
Well, can you talk about the grading off the
Absolutely.
back edge? Yep.
Yes. So if you look on that perimeter, and I don't know, I don't have access, but you'll see all this right here. That is a brick wall with big concrete bricks. So I'm looking to see if I have that here.
So,
It
yeah, we're gonna need a detail on that.
Yeah, I should have it, and if you can give me a minute, I can give you
We'll
that.
need it on the plan. I mean,
I'm sorry?
we'll need it on the plan.
Nicole, do you have that in there somewhere?
I'm looking at the detail. I'm on the detail page right now of the plan set. We got signage detail, manifold detail, infiltration, riser detail. That's for the infiltration.
Yeah, that's
those are
all
the
I'm-
drainage.
There should be the grading, and I have seen that one before. If you go on, maybe if you can zoom into that, you can at least see the top view of it.
There isn't a detail of the wall on here.
All right, well, right now, I'm going to let you know that that information needs to be provided to the commission, so that way they can make a good decision on this project if it was to go through. I mean, at this point in time, the commission doesn't have enough information.
So
And I'll tell,
I thought Bob Crowell told me that he had talked to you guys and had everything over there to you that you needed for this meeting.
he sent me the information for this, and I looked at it, and the peer reviewer sent it back to me, but I'm looking at this right now, and I thought that the grading was good for this, but it doesn't seem like that's the case, all right?
Well, I think it does show the grading right there, doesn't it? See, I see all these topo lines.
Okay, what's the bottom grade of you have got the top of the wall, but what's the bottom? On the outside, what's the grade? You don't have it. So, I mean, I need that. I need to know what the bottom end grade's going to be on the opposite side of, which is, where's the limit of work? I need to know where that is. There's too many loose ends here that, if the commission wanted to, they could just say that there's not enough information for this project right now. And I'm trying to assist you and help you out here and trying to get you the information, but I need that information for the commission.
I understand that, but Bob has worked with you guys, I don't know how many times, and gone back and forth and said, do we have everything we need for this meeting?
Right, and that was the initial design before Amazon came back and said that they needed the area and footprint bigger.
That he had talked to you and had everything you needed.
Bob has not talked to me at all. No one has talked to me. They sent this over to me, and I looked at it briefly and I didn't even know if we were going to be on this evening to talk about this because you're still in front of the planning board. So that's the other question. I don't know what the story is with them. But as of right now, this is a brand new project with work in the riverfront area. I'm looking at it with fresh eyes, fresh perspective, and there's some inconsistencies with the information that I have in front of me right now.
Well, maybe you guys can go on to the next one, and I'll see if I can get Bob on the phone.
Okay.
Okay, so just be mindful also that your work zone on the east side, we probably don't have enough room to build that wall without trespassing on the eastern property line. Once you figure out what your limit of work is going to be to build that wall. Let's get back to the alternatives analysis. So first and foremost, for riverfront, we look at avoidance, complete avoidance. And just because a parking space has to be larger, that's not an attempt to avoid riverfront. So now we're going to have to start thinking outside of the box. And I'm going to ask you to, okay, Amazon wants these spaces increased. Okay, let's start to think about, does every single space on the site need to be increased? Can you decrease a select number of them back to the 9 by 20 or 10 by 21, whatever, play with the site plan to avoid riverfront altogether? That's what I'm going to be looking for. Because you need to, you can still strike a happy medium in a balance of keeping those spaces, but perhaps you just minimize or make some of them smaller to avoid riverfront. And that should be done.
And I would also like to comment that you are so close to the 25 foot no disturbance zone, that you would need a construction sequence of basically constructing the wall from inside your footprint before you do any of the other construction, to avoid going into the other property and to avoid going into the no disturb zone.
I would refrain from doing that because, I mean, walls require maintenance. Every construction site that I've been to, every construction site that I've seen that a lot of these walls require annual maintenance or biannual maintenance. And, you know, I would want to see some sort of, you know, maintenance corridor along the 25 foot and the wall, just to protect yourself, you know, from being able to get in there if needed be with a mini excavator or something.
I can't shrink that up anymore. I went from 3 acres of upland to now I'm down to 1. I mean, when does this end? At what point does this end, that you guys chisel away everything that the lot is totally useless?
No, wait a second, sir. Let's be clear. This is the requirements of the Wetland Protection Act. We don't have arbitrary discretion about, oh yeah, you can just go ahead and do this. This is not the same process as the planning board, which has more discretion. Your project has to be consistent with the Wetland Protection Act. We can't say, if we approve a project that is not consistent and a neighbor appeals it, then your project doesn't go through. It
is consistent with it. It's outside of the 25 foot setback, and that bottom piece is less than the 10% that's allowed. Now, and then we didn't even settle that. You jumped over to, you want to know how we're gonna put the walls in without going into the 25 foot setback, and that can all will be done from the inside. It doesn't have to be. This is all in place with an excavator.
I'm gonna address your consultant from Goddard, Nicole.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you need more time to work on this and have a better product for your client?
I understand we need to answer some of the questions that you have raised during this hearing. And we will get you that information from the engineer once he gets back from...
I have Bob on the phone right now. I'm going to ask him to join in, and maybe he can...
Okay, that'd be wonderful.
All right. If I have him on the phone, is there a way that I can get him to join in? Is there a way we can do this?
Put him on speaker if you can.
Well, he's on speaker right now. Bob, you there?
I'm here.
All right. Where's the microphone? Can you guys hear Bob?
yes.
Speaker.
Do you want...
Go ahead,
Hey.
Nicole.
Do you want me to ask Bob the questions that the commission was asking?
Well, maybe we could start with John Thomas. Bob, John has some questions that I thought everything was all settled before we went into this meeting tonight. And he's...
I thought so. Yeah. Go ahead.
John, are you there?
I'm here. I just, this is the first time I've really looked at this plan in great detail. But I will say that, you know, the grades and everything on this, you know, with the wall, I'm looking at the wall, and I have some reservations about how that wall is going to be constructed and how it's so very close to the 25 foot no disturb. Are you there?
The footing alone is not represented here, which means you're going to have to excavate behind the wall. You're going to have to construction access from behind the wall. I've been on a ton of construction sites. I've never seen a wall built only from one side. It's impossible because your footing...
It's possible to build it from the inside?
Your footing is not even shown here. Where's the footing? Tell me how far the footing extends.
These walls, you take them out, put gravel down, and it sits on it, and they're hollow on the inside. You fill them with stone.
So there's no footing.
I've had it done before.
So there's no footing.
He says there's no footing, and it's not. You remove the debris, the leaves, and then you go right on top of what's underneath that.
Well, you just dig it out. You put it on a level footing. Just a little level. You put stone down. You set it on top of it, and the walls have a face on it. They're between 3 and 4 feet deep, and the back of it is open. So you pour. You actually fill it with stone, and
So-
you inch and a half, 2 inch stone in there. That's how they're made, and that way
Yeah.
everything. And so you just backhoe just goes along and digs it out and sets it down, and each one is set back. So it's set back.
It's staggered. It's
3/4 of an inch.
stepped back as you go higher to the next tier, and you do it all with an excavator from inside the footprint of it.
So,
No-
so is what we're seeing here, the footprint of this, is this the top of the wall or the bottom of the wall?
I'm sorry.
Is this the top of the wall or the bottom of the wall? Does this represent the full width of the wall?
So, Bob, do you have a? Also, we have the top view that shows the septic.
We don't have the detail.
Do you have the detail on the on the wall?
I don't know if I have it.
Did you ever send that over?
I don't think I did. It's a standard wall. Let's see. MBO makes them in. They made it in multiple places, but it's I think it's a strong. I forget the name of it, but I've used them before. I have one going on in Hanson right now, and it's used just for these type of situations.
Right, so we need a detail. We also you have top of wall elevations along the inside, so we need a bottom elevation on the
They need the existing elevations on outside of that wall, Bob.
existing and proposed.
Proposed elevations.
So, Bob, you didn't get that to them? You didn't include that in this?
I don't think the detail was not included. I could have said it the last thing, but the wall in most cases will be it depends. It depends on where it is on it, but it would at most it would be a foot higher than the grading on the parking lot.
I can get this to you guys tomorrow. I have a good relationship with MBO, and I can get you people I can get the board. Hang on, Bob.
My secretary. Okay, go ahead.
I can get the board. I can get that from the board. The brochure and the engineered stamps that they're allowed and all that. So I guess Bob neglected to do that. I'm sorry. I thought that he had included that with this, but I can get that for you guys tomorrow morning if that helps.
Okay, so in some locations, the wall is right on top of the 25s, which tells me that you can't even put the sediment controls in because there's no room.
I'm sorry?
The
Again,
wall in
please.
some places is on top of the 25-foot no touch, which tells me that you can't even put the sediment controls in between. So you're going to have to readjust that so that you have the,
Where is the touch of the 25? Where is that?
I'm looking at a pinch point right here, right across from A23. And also further to the northwest.
So just so the applicant and their representatives are aware, a project of this magnitude is going to require potentially a visual barrier or visual, some sort of physical demarcation of showing the sensitivity within close proximity to the wetlands. So
shouldn't we stick to one thing at a time here? I mean, you're hitting me with something.
if you want to stick to something at the same time, that's fine, but I'm just giving you information to help you out with your project, but I can just be quiet if you'd like me to.
No, I'm just saying, she's telling me that we're overstepping the bounds here, and I don't believe that we are. And before we even finish that conversation, you want to
I'm
talk
just
about
going to be
something
mute
else?
for the rest of this conversation. So
All right.
thank you.
Okay, so on the same plan, you need to show how the wall and the sediment control fits. I would like to see the sediment control on here while avoiding the 25-foot no disturb.
Can you show me where you mean that? And you should know that those lines aren't 1,000% accurate. They're within, connect the dots. So where you see A23, it looks like it's touching the wall. It may not be. And if it is, it's just touching it. You still got 25-foot setback, which is what's required.
You won't once you put your sediment controls in and start to build that wall. So you're going to have to look at all those pinch points where the wall is coincidental with the 25. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm asking you to do.
Is to do what?
You're going to have to adjust your designs into the 25-foot no disturb zone. Because right now you will be, if you put your sediment controls and construct that wall. You will be in select locations. Also asking you to revisit the riverfront impacts, which to me seem to be avoidable. And the last question I had was provisions for trash. Do you have trash barrels or receptacles here?
Yes, of course we do. Yes.
Okay, and where are those located?
There's a dumpster provided on all their sites.
Okay, is that shown on these plans?
I'm sorry?
Is that dumpster shown on these plans? I may have missed it.
I don't
I don't
I'd have to
believe
go back
so.
and look at the wall again. I think it is up in the top there. Does it show a dumpster? So it's top there. Nicole, what's that say right there?
It says guard shack.
Oh, God, yeah. Well, the dumpster goes up to that area.
All right, so whatever you want to show us to approve in jurisdiction needs to be on that plan, so I think everything
I'm
should
sorry,
be-
you're very muffled. One more time, please.
if you're proposing a dumpster in our jurisdiction, it needs to be on the plan.
Okay.
So whatever you want us to approve should be shown on the plan.
Okay. So you need a dumpster, and what were the other items, please?
I have the list. I got it.
Yeah, and Nicole, I think the solution is that not every parking space needs to be large for the vans. I think you can make a hybrid situation
Yep.
that will reduce the impact.
Okay.
Or avoid riverfront.
Can I ask one more question here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Move on to the next one. So included in the documents that were provided in the Google Drive is a well completion report. I didn't see, I mean, maybe you can orient me to the location of where the well is. This implies that the well's already dug.
There is no well.
All right, so that's why I wanted to clarify, because in the folder there was a well completion report. I wasn't clear that it was associated with this, maybe misfiled, but
No, this is a parking lot, doesn't require a well.
hence my confusion. So
Okay.
Was that in the drainage report, Mark?
no, it's in the first folder that you click in for this.
Yeah, I saw that. I misplaced that.
Okay, so it doesn't go with this project.
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so,
Is there anything else?
well, I think, unless there are any other questions from members of the commission, we have to ask the audience if there's anyone that has a question about this project. And if not, there's clearly some additional information we need. We would need to continue this until our next meeting, which is March 27th.
I'd like to ask that if we could maybe just have an order of conditions and allow me to get started on this. With the clearing. I mean, these are minor things that you're looking for, and I can have those very quickly.
I don't
No,
think it's
so-
minor, Dave.
Sorry, you have
Which
to,
part? Which is a minor?
you have to meet the performance standards for impacts to riverfront, and that has not been met. The burden
Sorry?
of proof is on you, so there is no way we're gonna let you start work if you don't have a complete file and you still owe us information. Bottom line.
What were the biggest items that the biggest?
Nicole
objection-
has the list. I think we're done here.
I'm sorry?
Nicole has the list. I think we're all set here. She can brief you on it. We need to move on. Nicole has the list. I make a motion that we continue the public hearing for file 250-1119 to the March 27th public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion made by Lisa and seconded by Dan. Roll call vote, starting with, I think, Ron and Dan.
Aye.
Aye.
And Lisa and Tama.
Aye.
Aye.
And Mark?
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye. So Nicole and Dave, we will see you next time.
All right. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
That completes our
Did you hear all that bullshit?
scheduled public hearings. And our next item is a request for partial and full certificate of compliance. I'm assuming it's going to be a full certificate of compliance for file number 250-1058. That sound right, John?
Sorry. I had to
Slow,
do
deep
something.
breath.
I had to do something there administratively. Sorry.
Okay,
What did you say? Could you repeat yourself, please?
sure. We're now on item A under certificates of compliance. We have file number 250-1058 for 12 South Highland Street, requesting a certificate of compliance. And I'm assuming it's a full and not a partial?
It is a full. I was out there this morning. I met the calls, both of them. I reviewed the work that was done. There was a couple items that I guess Jennifer gave them additional approval to do. I looked at those. Everything seems to be in compliance with the permit, so I recommended to the commission to issue a full certificate of compliance.
So John, did they reach final stabilization? Or, it must have
They
been last year then,
They
right?
did, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Everything's stabilized.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to issue a full certificate of compliance for 250-1058.
Second.
Motion made by Lisa, seconded by Tama. Roll call vote, starting with Lisa and Tama,
Aye.
Aye.
and Ron and Dan,
Aye.
and Mark.
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye, so the motion carries. Now we have an order of conditions for file number 250-1022, which is 0 West Main Street across from Oak Street on 123. And
Calling up, I saw two versions of it in the
really?
in the
There should only be one version.
Um,
Megan put two versions on there?
I
Was,
think
was
so.
one the PDF and one the Word
Oh,
document?
Is that it? Wait a minute.
Because I just left the Word document in case there were any corrections that should be made.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's what it was. Okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
just real quick, did the, that, reversion that I requested, did that make it in with the, regarding the, square footage of the building?
That will be revised for the final one, yes.
Okay.
The version that's on their server, it's the old version, so I'll just update that beforehand. I have that, it's just I haven't switched over, so.
Okay, and just for
But
clarity,
it will be adjusted for the two-story, yeah.
yeah, the order, refers to a 4,000 square foot building, but it's the footprint, so gross square footage is 8,000, so. Just a small point of clarity.
What item does that refer to? I don't see it right off the bat.
We're for the approval of the building. It's just the square footage. I have to adjust that. I think my version says 4,000.
No, my version says 8,000, so.
Oh, it does, okay.
Updated it.
Oh, you did update it, okay.
Yep.
So we should be all set, Greg.
Great, appreciate it.
All right, the elves are at work behind us.
So, John, there was some confusion on my part between 9 and 10. So the applicant shall submit a complete SWIP. Yeah, I got that, right? But then 10 says a final erosion and sediment control plan. Is that something they left out of the set? Was that the one?
So I put that in there in case anything changes, just in case. When they go to construction.
Update that plan when we develop the SWIP.
Well, it depends. It depends on when we have a pre-construction meeting and if you make any adjustments or need to make any refinements, that final plan, whatever, if it was the previous plan, that's great because that can be used. It's just whatever, if you have any adjustments, maybe I should say, I don't know, a different adjective to final plan.
Well, the SWIP governs and the SWIP can accommodate changes, as they go. So
Well,
that's what's going to rule construction, not necessarily the erosion. The erosion sediment control plan in the set is really the tools, and it ensures us that they're going to take these measures, right? But the SWIP is really what they implement.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah, but they also use the plan too. I don't know. If you have any suggestions, I'd be more than happy to make any adjustments.
I think it's just confusing. I'm the contractor and I see the SWIP and then I see the final erosion sediment control plan. So, they should be the same.
Sometimes when I ask for a SWIP, they just give me the SWIP document and not a plan though.
Well, then they don't know what they're doing because it's the narrative in the plans.
I'm just telling you realistically what happens.
all right, but I mean, you've added some flexibility, and item 8 is you have to confirm the soil infiltration rate and depth of grid. So if there are any changes because of those final findings, then yes, things might have to change. But all of that will be hashed out at the pre-construction meeting.
Most of the time it does, yep.
So I think...
I'm just saying, as an applicant, if I got this order from my client, I'd be like, what in the heck is this, right? You had one erosion sediment control plan.
Yeah, but you're supposed to be the flexibility to deal with the very literal applicant. It's
not a clear, clean order, in my opinion.
I think you have to step into this.
I mean, I can strike it and they can just provide me a SWIP and then...
Yes, thank you. Because again, it doesn't matter what's in the set, John. The SWIP is meant to be a dynamic document. It changes every day. So the SWIP really governs how it's going to be constructed. The erosion sediment control plan in the set of plans is a permanent, this is what it's going to look like, right? Really? The SWIP has sequencing, phasing, it has everything in it on how it's going to be executed. So to me, that's more important. When you walk into the field, you're not going to be looking at the erosion sediment control plan to check to see if they're doing things the right way. You're going to have the SWIP plans in your hand to see if they're sequencing correctly. Just my opinion.
All right, well...
Just my little humble opinion.
But is there a change?
I think it's just confusing.
But what should we change? It's a question.
Just take out the final erosion sediment control plan and just get the SWIP. The SWIP is the latest, greatest, what the contractor is going to implement. That's the most important thing. And then we're going to be approving that, right? Do we want to review it and approve it as well, John?
I mean, that's up to you guys. Typically, they submit it and everything looks good. Do you want them to come back and...
No, I thought I was always under the impression, well, we used to say that they were going to provide it and we were going to review it and approve it and tell them go, start. So you just put them on file.
I have them. And I look at them.
Do you review them though? Do you review them to make sure they're adequate?
When I go out there to make sure that they're in compliance, yes.
Okay. So that's fine. They submitted 14 days prior to. Let's just hope it's correct. So I would personally strike 10. I think it's confusing.
Okay.
What we should be asking for, and we always have in the past, is Jennifer would review the SWIP to make sure it even met the criteria for the CGP. So, I mean, does it match the EPA template? Is everything there? So,
So the final thought is we're eliminating 10?
2 cents.
And 10 is gone, so.
10 and 23F.
And so is 23F.
Yeah.
Should
And
I say,
not to be anal, but I must be. The number 1, under the Wetlands, Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act is 310.10.55, right? But the regulations is a different citation, so we might just want to put that. We always put that on there. Mass General Law 40, whatever the hell it is.
that's copy and pasted from what Jennifer previously had, so okay, I'll make that change.
Yeah, the act is one thing, the regulations is a separate citation.
All right, I will make that change.
Okay. That's the only thing I had.
Any other comments, questions, revisions? If not, we can consider a motion to accept the orders as amended.
So moved.
Second.
I think Tama got the second, so motion by Dan, seconded by Tama. Roll call vote, starting with Lisa and Tama,
Aye.
Aye.
and Dan and Ron.
Aye.
I think that was an aye, Ron. Mark,
Aye.
and I'll throw in an aye. So the motion carries. So thank you, Greg. And our next item.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
See you, Greg.
Thank you.
I think our next item is draft minutes. And I guess the only question, it doesn't have it identified as minutes. Is that right, Megan, or did the final copy get minutes for?
No, I'll make that adjustment.
Okay.
Also, and I think this is my fault, but when you first mentioned Ken Thompson, the first time, just put his first name.
Okie dokie.
Speaking
Just
of Ken
the first
Thompson, Ken Thompson's here this evening.
Right.
We'd like to discuss some stuff, so I don't know if we want to touch that before we do the minutes.
All right. But it's not going to change the minutes, right?
No.
So there's nothing in here other than that I found, and anybody else has some corrections? So if not, we can consider a motion with those changes to accept the minutes of February 27th.
So
I'll make a
moved.
motion.
That was simultaneous, so I'm going to say moved by Dan, seconded by Lisa. Roll call vote, starting with Lisa and Tama.
Aye.
Tama actually has to abstain. She wasn't there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm pretty sure I wasn't there.
And Ron and Dan
Yes. Aye.
and Mark,
Aye.
and I'll throw in an aye. The minutes are accepted, and so Ken, do you want to address the meeting, or is the meeting just so exciting that you couldn't have your evening without it?
It had a few laughs. Anyways, after the last meeting, you requested a set of plans with all the information on it with stamps. We had the engineer do that for us, and it's been submitted to the commission. Do you want me to pull them up?
Why don't you, Ken? That'd be nice.
Okay, can you share the screen?
Yep, you can.
Okay. Where is it? This one. This is the first plan we have for you. It's the overall site condition with restoration area 1. The culvert crossing, where we can use the plates on it, steel plates, so that we can get to the rear. And this is the area that's going to receive the timber mats. That was something you wanted. The details on stamp, siltation, erosion controls. Let me get out of here and see if I can get the other one up. What did I do? And then on the second plan, you asked for restoration notes and the procedures and how we were going to do it. They're included. This is my plan overlaid on theirs with the plant species, soils, tree planting details. And in here, like I said, is the construction sequence. So that, I mean, if you approve us to go forward, next move would be put the erosion controls out. There's like 2,200 feet of it. And then have John come out and inspect it. And with your permission, we'd like to start this cleanup so we can get it done.
So, John, did you review the notes and the sequencing? Are they adequate?
I've looked at this. It's in line with what we discussed.
Okay.
And basically verbatim of what was asked of Ken to put in there.
Okay.
Looks consistent with procedures that I'm typically see. Therefore, I think that I'm comfortable with that as to let them go ahead with the project as such to alleviate some of the enforcement issues.
So do we need to?
All right, so we don't have to issue it.
Yeah.
No, it's just, we don't have to, basically, there's no vote needed. I don't think, it's just acceptance of the plans and giving your blessing, basically, to let them go do this work. Under my supervision, of course.
All right, I'm going to say I have no objection to the proposed plan. Does anyone on the commission want to raise concerns? And if not, we can assume that it's approval. And
if any of the members want to attend the process, and they're more than happy to attend and see if anyone's curious as how it works. I know, Lisa, you've got a lot of experience probably dealing with this, but some of the other members may have never seen kind of wetland restoration projects in place. So it could be a potential learning experience for some.
I'm sorry, do we have a specific date for that, John?
Ken, when do you think you want to start going?
Probably fairly quickly. Try to take advantage of the colder weather. I'd like to get the fill out as fast as possible, especially in the front portion.
Why don't you give me 48 hours notice of when you guys are going to start doing the work? That way I can come out and take a look at the sediment controls, and then we can arrange potentially a meeting for the commission to come out and see the process in action.
That's fine.
All right.
That's fine. Glad to have you.
All right. Thanks for making those changes, Ken.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great one.
Okay.
all right, thank you.
Thank you very
I
much.
think we're up to report from staff.
Oh, we got new projects coming in. A lot of them. Right, Megan?
Oh yeah, it's so fun.
We had an easy night tonight.
Yeah, it's an easy night tonight. We've got
It's
some
easy.
larger scale projects coming in. So be on the lookout for those. And a couple old projects may be resurfacing that the commission was privileged to in the past. And yeah, that's really it to report as of right now. Looking forward to town meeting that's going to be coming up in May. So
I didn't think there was that much space for large projects left in Norton.
Oh, there's space. There's space. There's a new, let's see, they had potential development on Reservoir Street that was previously denied by the planning board that may be resurfacing. And Wading River Estates may be resurfacing. Let's see what else is coming in. I got a project on
So reservoir, it must have been in that triangle. I mean, there's reservoir is totally congested.
the project that was kind of near between Sandwich, with Mansfield Ave. The one that we approved in ADRAD last year. That one.
I see.
That one may be coming back.
Is that in our jurisdiction, John? I thought that was.
It is in our jurisdiction. At least a portion of it is going to be in our jurisdiction. Mainly just the road and a couple house lots potentially. So we'll see.
Where was
but-
Wading River?
Wading River Estates, I mean, that's been up and around. I think there, and then there's Turtle Crossing. I think that was another one that was coming back. So those two ones. Wading River
I
Estates
can't
was,
remember where they.
I want to say it was a condo. Can't remember off the top of my head.
What street's that one on?
South Worcester, I want to say.
I know Turtle Crossing's off Newland.
Turtle Crossing's off Newland,
Oh,
yes.
I remember that. With the
That
big
one.
pond in the back?
Mm-hmm. The one that
Oh,
used to be
yeah.
the old Cranberry Bog one. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That one's resurfacing too. I don't know when they're going to get all their information in. They came in for a preliminary discussion. 301 South Worcester Street is going to be on our docket coming up.
Yep.
That one is, Megan, was that a couple lots, I believe, to my knowledge?
That was, so it's not subdivided yet, and it's a potential 5 single-family homes, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was too. So that's going to be in front of us for, hopefully for the next meeting. They got everything in today, right?
Yep, everything's in, so they will be on the next meeting.
We need to put up, no,
Go ahead, Dan. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, we need to put up signs at the borders of town, no vacancy.
No vacancy. Okay. In light of some other, Tom, your iPhone. Okay. And in light of some other news, we will be looking at establishing more trail connections off of Edith Reed. I've been in discussions with the LPS and the YMCA. So I have a meeting scheduled with a couple students and potentially the Boys and Girl Scouts, along with the YMCA folks and LPS, to kind of have a joint session to discuss trail connectivity and hopefully try to gauge potential areas where we can have more established trails between the larger parcels. So yeah, so we're looking to do that. Nothing's set in stone. We're still through the planning stages, but I'll keep the commission apprised. I actually was out there today mapping with All Trails, the existing trails out there to kind of get a sense to where they are. And then, for instance, we'll try to figure out what sort of areas require boardwalks and which ones don't. So it should be an interesting project. Looking forward to working with all the people involved. But I'll keep the commission apprised on how things go.
Need a permit for that, John?
Depends on what we're going to do. Depends.
I know where you can get one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And any interest in the 7th spot
So
on the commission?
I've got a couple feelers out there, still waiting to hear back from them. I've kind of haven't given them a deadline, but waiting patiently.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
I don't have anything else.
I have something else. Have we heard anything about in-person meetings, whether they're continuing the order?
So March 31st is the deadline for the governor to get back to us, and usually they do it on March 31st, which is great for us to plan things.
On the
Okay.
bright side, we'll have plenty of time because our April meeting isn't until the 10th, so we'll know it well in advance. Hopefully.
All right. All right, so time for a sign off. See, even Peter dropped out, didn't he?
Yeah, too much fun on this meeting this evening. All right, good night, everyone.
Okay, good night.
Good night, everybody.